Africa, because it is shown that tourism doesn't help the poor and working class people. Tourism in Africa and people going to Africa to find themselves, to kiss the soil, they don't help the people there. Much of the profit from tourism never ends up in the hands of locals. It's called tourist leakage. It's a worldwide phenomenon where tourism revenue ends up mostly in the hands of foreign corporations. That's right. So when you go home to Africa, who's going to profit from your visit to Africa? Hilton, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, American Airlines. The vast bulk of the money that you spend when you go home to the motherland ends up in the hands of white corporations who facilitate your travel and your comfort. It doesn't get into, yeah, you might buy something from a street vendor. That is not full. Number two, here's another issue. Much of tourism profits ends up being reinvested in tourists themselves, meaning that what nations that focus on tourism do, they don't use your money when you go to Ghana to build up the infrastructure of Ghana or Jamaica or hell, Vietnam. What a lot of times happens is they take the money from tourism to build up the tourist areas, to build more hotels, more resorts, more water slides, more nightclubs. It doesn't go to the poor people. This is why Sekou Touré was the only new post-colonial African leader to say, I'm not playing this tourism game. I'm not going to open up our wild lands. Y'all not going to come here for safari and while my people starve. And then you go to these foreign nations and they reroute you around all the poverty and slums and misery and drive you right up to the tailor-made tourism regions. And then they're saying the blogs and documenting revelations from the trip aren't helping. It doesn't do anything. Oh, look, and taking pictures and all that. And a lot of white people go to Africa with this white savior complex, but now, just like everything else, we imitate our oppressors. We got a lot of black saviors. Oh, Serena Williams going to open a school. Oh, yes, she opened schools. Little John opened schools. Yay, schools. Number one, why don't these nations have the capacity to open their own damn school? You got a whole government with trillions of dollars of natural resources under the soil, and they've got to wait on Little John to open a school? Have you ever listened to Little John? Listen. And I know y'all celebrate this charity stuff, but when you need celebrities to open schools from you, that is evidence of a dysfunctional society. And opening schools and charities don't fix societies. You need revolution. So while the wealthy African leaders fly private jets to America to beg for money and sell out their whole nation and let them say, well, we'll give you $1 million, but you got to let us build a military base on your country. You got to let us build a facility in your country and all these polluting. You got to allow us to send our e-waste to your country. And we'll pay you, you'll be paid, but you won't even be at home. You'll be, when you get sick, African leaders get sick, including Mugabe, they got to go to Switzerland. They got to go to Saudi Arabia when they get the flu or pneumonia or need a hip replacement because they don't reinvest in the country. And now we have to go from the white savior complex. Now we got a black savior complex. Where these rich Negroes who ain't educated they damn self are opening schools on the African continent. And nobody ever talked about Oprah schools because it was a house of horrors, of molestation, rape, and abuse. And social justice trips are a sham. So there are articles talking about how tourism, return home, does not really change anything except providing another, it's like a human safari. You go stand amongst the poor, desperate people. And yeah, it's great for your ego. It's great for your social media account. But it does nothing for the fundamental situation on the ground. Africa right now has some severe problems. I ain't heard one of these right of return MFers say a damn thing about Africa's core issues. Number one, Africa's number one problem is global warming, climate change, desertification, deforestation, contamination of the soil, salinization. Number one problem. Number two problem, foreign extraction of the wealth. Nobody's gone there. They're over there promoting investment. And investment is a kind word for colonization and resource theft. Beyonce, oh, they over here stealing the resources, y'all. She ain't gonna do it. So y'all celebrate the year of return? This is my first time even speaking on it publicly. Because every time I look at it, every time, and I've seen it all. I watched that whole tape of Ludacris waving his Gambonian pat. I've watched Jay-Z and Bey. It was, 4 or 5 months ago, I did a whole breakdown of Steve Harvey returning home. We keep playing the same game. We've been here before. In the Congo, in Liberia, Ghana, Kenya. We've been here before. You had African diplomats. Black diplomats from America. You had black soldiers from America. You had black businesses from America that have been going back and forth to the continent since the 1820s. The 1970s, after the post-Civil War era, was a great increase. And they go there to make their deals. They go there and for the same reason white people go there. Because Africa is vulnerable for exploitation. They go there with the same agenda, with the same mentality, and using the same tactics as white people have for years. And what makes it worse is because we're black, they're more apt to trust us. Obama was able to accomplish things in terms of undermining the interests of Africa that no white president would have been able to do. So, you call it the year of return? I say, whether you celebrate this mess or not, ask, what is the ideology? Do they have Pan-African ideologies? Do they have anti-colonial ideologies? Do they have a liberation ideology? What are the objectives? What is the agenda? What do you want to achieve? And what means and methods do you seek to use to achieve whatever goals? What is your point? What is your purpose here? We know that just you going there, just us going to Africa, just us going to the motherland does nothing for the motherland. It doesn't help the people. It only helps the elite and upper echelons of the economy. And as it says, it's a losing game. For every dollar that Africa gets to gain, multinational corporations, races get $10. So it's still a zero-sum game. You better off putting your money in an envelope and mailing it to the continent than getting on a plane to go there and stare at oppressed African people on the other side of the world. And I am Pan-African, but I have made a commitment. I'm not going anywhere where I can't make a material impact on the people. I'm not going to Africa unless I'm there to do work. And I know there are those people there, but I don't see y'all sharing. I know brothers and sisters. Del Jones, when he died, he was there building in Africa. We got a Panther in Africa. We got Pete O'Neill and Mama Charlotte O'Neill. They're in Africa. There are a lot of African people from the diaspora in Africa making, here it is, a positive contribution to the just aspirations of the people. That's all I ask. If you're going there to further entrench the Western indoctrination, if you're open to school teaching them Western education, Western values, teaching them to be entrepreneur, capitalist parasites to further exploit their own damn people, they don't need They already got billionaire Africans exploiting their own people. They don't need Jay-Z for that. So if you can't bring something to our motherland that our motherland needs or is lacking, what is the point of you? It really disturbs me. I even see conscious black people celebrating this year of return as if y'all don't know the history of African Americans returning to Africa. It is a tragic history. It is a tragic history. From the 18s to the 19s and now the 2000s. I don't know how I can tell you, I can project into the future. I can tell you by how the black celebrities behave here and how black entrepreneurs and black specialists, black military vets, black cops, how all these affluent black people with any semblance of power, how they behave here in the United States. You're going to be a sellout parasites in the United States, but flying across the Atlantic somehow turns you into Marcus Garvey? Garvey has done more for African people, and Garvey never set foot on the continent of Africa. If you really want to help Africa, you ain't got to go there to help. But again, I'm a hater. Fine. Like Black Star, the Underground King said, I'm the Grinch of Pan-Africanism. In this little corner that I'm reigning on this parade, Africa and African people across the globe, we deserve better. I don't think one black person should be able to come to Africa and make any claims about anything positive without going through some very strict tests. It should be hard. You know, it's easier to go to Africa and build a school and be a champion for African people than it is to get a job at McDonald's. At least here you got to fill out an application. They research your history. They want to know your criminal history. They want to know your values. They research your social media. They sit down and interview you. And then you get a probationary period. We're going to put you on the grill. We're going to watch you for 2 weeks. And you make any mistakes, you're out of here, mister. But I could go to Africa with a little money in my pocket. They don't even ask where I get the money. Did I get it from the CIA black budget? Did I get it from the NSA? Where did I get this money? From the Bank of England? All they know is you got money. I want to build a school. They don't say, well, who's going to teach at the school? What's going to be the curriculum? No questions asked. Just drop money on the table. And if you got money, you must be brilliant. You must be beautiful. You must be good because money is moral in this capitalist system. It's easier to be an African savior than to be an employee of McDonald's. I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters of Africa scrutinize these people. But hell, we don't do that here. Somebody could come to my neighborhood in Bronzeville right now, Jay-Z, Common, and I ain't got to even speculate. Kanye West, Uncle Tom, sellout, handkerchief head, Christianizing missionary buffoon, and his homie reach out a hand to white racist Common lacking sense, have come to Chicago with checks. They had checks, and they were like, we're going to set up a school, we're going to set up a Donda West Foundation, we're going to do it. And people rolled out the red carpet. They didn't say, wait a minute. Yeah, we're poor, we're struggling, but we're human beings. We have dignity. You can't just come do stuff to us without our consent, without consulting us. Jay-Z did the same thing. Jay-Z took some of his NFL money and tried to, get some of the heat off of him for selling out to the NFL. So he came here and gave money to two racist charities, white savior charities in the hood. One white racist charity and then some handkerchief head charities that built a bulletproof dome for black children to play in. And nobody questions them. And if I say, wait a minute, well, you don't have the money. No, I don't have $1 million because I didn't run around saying to the world. I didn't go before 1 billion people and say it's hard not to kill niggas. It's like a full-time job not to kill niggas. I don't have that kind of talent. So no, I don't have Jay-Z money. But that means I don't have a mind. I don't have a say to what happens in my community. The same stuff they're doing here. You think they're going to function and behave differently on the continent than they behave here? Really? You take a barracuda out of a tank and put it in the ocean, and you think it's going to stop being a barracuda? It's going to be more of a barracuda. I don't think, my problem is not the year of return. I appreciate that. And y'all know I'm going to go for my citizenship, dual citizenship, whatever I can do to reconnect with the continent and align whatever agendas I have here on the south side of Chicago. I want to be aligned with Accra. I want to be aligned with Lagos. I want to link with the Luo, the Yoruba, the Kikuyu. I want to unite with my people for a specific reason, not so we can floss, not so we can get all the best trinkets and treats that the white system has to offer, so we can ball out and sit front seat, what do you say, at a fight and have a box at an NFL game. I want to do this because I want to dismantle oppressive systems. I want to end imperialism and colonization. I want to restore the ecosystems of the world, Africa, Haiti, and the world. I want liberation. I want every African child to breathe clean air, drink uncontaminated water, and be allowed to reach their full potential without all this obstruction and hate, self-hate, and external oppression. That's why I want to unite with Africa. Not because, they're about to have World War III, and you want to use Africa as a bomb shelter. After you made all this money from oppressing African people and exploiting the world, then you want to run to the third world as your shelter. When you didn't give a damn about them when you didn't have the chance of a bomb dropping on your head. It's utterly despicable behavior, and it's a despicable mentality. I don't like what I'm seeing with this, and that's my position. This is Bro Diallo Show.